Good morning. How's everybody this morning? Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, indeed.
Excellent. I'm never sure when I'm setting up this microphone whether it's being switched over to the internal mic or not, but good morning and welcome everybody. It's not too bad yet. The storm hasn't hit this part of the world anyway. So look, we'll motor on because we've a packed agenda as ever. And while we'd like to have a little bit of a preamble, I'm just looking at the agenda today, and an hour is going to be a tight squeeze to get everything in. So we're going to have our usual breakout rooms. We're going to have a fantastic spot prize courtesy of Karen and Kieran McBride of the Parcel Concierge, which Paula will announce at the end of the meeting. We're also going to have a very I think interesting and topical discussion from Linda Breathnach, and we'll talk more about that shortly. And as I say, a couple of breakout rooms and what have you. But for those of you present, before we actually go on, I want to discuss a new initiative that the Chamber has added to their website, and it's exclusive for the Mead Chambers members, that is. It's called Mead Chamber Connects, and it's a facility to connect members directly with other members. Now, these networking sessions, they're fantastic and everything else, but they're all virtual. And the one thing you miss is that you don't actually hand out a business card at the end of the meeting to people that you've been talking to, or you can't go for a coffee afterwards with them. So we often forget coming out of these virtual network group meetings to say, oh, you know, I met with Ray Gibbons, or I met with Paula, and I forgot to actually ask them, could I get in touch with them? So this facility is an opportunity for members to get in touch, and the Mead Chamber will actually facilitate that. And I'm just, if I can, I'm going to share the screen to the Mead Chamber website. If I can. There we go. I think you can all see that now. And so that's the Mead Chamber website. And there's a facility here called Events and Networks. And down the bottom of that is Mead Chamber Connects. And then if you scroll down there, you'll just see you fill in the information. So, and it's very simple. It's very straightforward. Your business name, contact name, email address, and most importantly of all, the name of the person or business that you'd like to be connected with. Now, it is exclusively for Mead Chamber members, and membership starts, I think, from as little as €250 for the year. So it's very good value. And I just wanted to draw your attention to that. So I'm going to stop sharing that screen now, but if you need any more information on membership or on this particular facility, I think you can talk to Paula or contact her directly by email. Now, okay, so we're going to move straight into our discussion, and their discussion today is with Linda Breathnach, and Linda is a counselor psychotherapist with over 20 years of experience working with couples, individuals, and groups in therapeutic and corporate spaces. She's also a college lecturer, and in her spare time, apparently a mum of 4. And she knows only too well the challenges we all faced at business and personal levels due to the pandemic, which appears to be on the wane, which is lovely to see. So today's talk is called Building Mental Resilience for Your Business, and it's going to focus on networking, burnout prevention, and building mental resilience. So the first thing I'd like to say is, Linda, welcome and thanks for coming along.
Hi, Ray. Thanks for having me.
How are you?
Not too bad.
Good. Linda, we've had a chat beforehand, so I suppose we know the direction we want to go with this topic, because it's so such a broad spectrum of topics you could bring in that we try to focus on 3 particular areas. So I suppose we want to start with networking in itself. Linda, many people have a fear of networking, particularly when new to the process, and I can remember that myself. How can they manage their environment to make networking more effective and more enjoyable?
Well, it might feel a bit confusing for anybody listening that I'm talking about networking when I'm a counsellor psychotherapist, but I know I've always told Paula about the nerves I had. Paula remembers me back at the beginning when I went out on my own, fully self-employed, and the nerves around networking. And I thought it was a whole intimidating, like something off a movie where it's, you know, this, you come and you pitch and you have to be very fake and you have to have your elevator pitch and you have to sell and get what you want out of people and all that. And it didn't fit with me, didn't fit with my work. And I was very nervous and intimidated by it. I thought it was all going to be very corporate spiel and the whole lot. The chamber actually facilitated a networking event on networking, a breakfast event way back before the pandemic, nearly 4 years ago, and Barbara Moynihan and facilitated it, and it was very she was just so down to earth and so real, and I really appreciated that, of course. But she also used the word congruence, which is one of the first terms you learn as a psychotherapist. Carl Rogers talks about it, which means genuineness and just being true to yourself, and not having any expectations. So when I'm networking, I just like to get to know people, find out a bit about what they do. I might know somebody that I can refer them to. I might not. They might know somebody they can refer me to. But really, I suppose, and I can see people on the call that I've met along the way as well, it's just about being yourself, being true to your product, to your ethos, your vision, and getting that across. So and I love it. I love getting to know people. I love through LinkedIn, people send connection requests. I love sending them myself, getting to know people at these events, and just being real, having a virtual cuppa, and hopefully soon a real cuppa face to face again.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think when you go to networking events, it is about being yourself and not trying to be putting too much pressure on yourself to perform, as it were. Just go and meet people. We're all the same. We're all SME owners, or almost all SME owners who have the same desires and the same troubles with our businesses. It's across the board. So what coping mechanisms or tips, or do you have any tips or coping mechanisms that to improve your networking or to improve your own attitude or your own feeling going into these events?
I suppose in terms of coping, if you're nervous, honor it, be true, say it. I've met loads of people who said they were nervous. I've met people who came to represent their business, but it was still an idea. They still weren't sure. They might say a little bit about it. They mightn't want to say anything about it at all. So I suppose take a deep breath. Realize that if whatever you're feeling, somebody else is probably feeling the same. If you're feeling a bit nervous, if you're doubting something you've just said 5 minutes ago and you're regretting it. So I suppose trust yourself, be very familiar with your product or service or whatever you're offering. Have some shorter, I'm very bad at this quick top tip soundbite type thing, because I feel like it's always more complex. And I think, it's something I've had to work on in terms of describing my business and the workshops that we offer. So I would say have a succinct version of what you offer to hand, and when it's back face to face, have business cards, have contact details ready, and I suppose just manage your own expectations. Like why are you doing it? What are you hoping to get from it? And recognize that whatever you're feeling, somebody else is probably feeling the same.
I think you're right. And I think trying to find that good space, or try to be in a good space when you're going into the room, have the drive-in, you don't listen to some good music or something, take your mind off it, because at the end of the day, it's only an hour, and it's an opportunity to meet people more so than sell to people. So, and I think that's, if you have that attitude of meeting people is what it's about, I think it works better. Thanks for that, Linda. I just wanted to kind of tap on that area first, because it is the area we're looking at, or the topic today, as we were saying, is about building mental resilience. And one of the areas we want to discuss is burnout and burnout prevention, I suppose, because we're all leading those busy lives. We feel often as a business owner, I'll speak for myself, I feel as if I'm not being too productive in a particular day. You're feeling tired, you're weary, you're doing a lot of different things. And burnout is very common amongst the self-employed, and we'll focus, if we can, on the self-employed. And I know it's a general thing, but what are the signs of burnout, and is there anything we can do to prevent it and to manage it better?
So I'm just going to share a slide, because there's a lot of signs of burnout. I'm just going to find it here.
Perfect.
So there's lots of signs of burnout, and you'd probably feel burnt out reading that list. there's physical symptoms. You could feel sick. You can it can affect your appetite. You can feel lots of emotions like anxious, depressed, angry. I think for me, the number one sign of burnout, and I have experienced it myself briefly. I've worked with clients who might have experienced it, or therapists, professionals. I've talked to a couple of business owners lately, actually, who are just feeling kind of burnt out, but I think the number one, especially, with small business owners, what gets us into this is our passion for our product or our service, our enthusiasm. We do all the hours sometimes that we shouldn't be doing because we feel so passionate and excited about what we're offering. And the number one sign for me of burnout is if that passion gets lost and you start kind of feeling frustrated with stuff that used to excite you. Yeah. If you start feeling tired and unmotivated about basic tasks that you used to just fly through, and they get a bit heavier, or they feel a bit harder to accomplish. I suppose you might be experiencing, or you might know somebody who's experiencing one of these, or you might be experiencing all of it. But if I'm honest, the amount of conversations I've had this week with people from all different backgrounds, clients, therapists, lecturers, students, businesses, staff, parents, young people doing exams, like, just because, and I know you said, Ray, the pandemic is nearly over, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, we're talking about returning to work. In principle, most of us think that's a good change. It's a very positive thing, but it's scary, and you might have anxiety about COVID, but you might just have anxiety about being 3D, face-to-face, social anxiety. The thing about these online calls is that they're a lot more efficient. There's a lot less small talk. We kind of zoom in, zoom out, teams in, teams out. And when we go back face to face, we have to change all that. Time changes. If we started 5 or 10 minutes late in the chamber offices there, it wouldn't be as big a deal. But 2 minutes is really long when you're online on Zoom. So it's all those adjustments. And I just think everybody in this country, or possibly the world, would be entitled to feel a sense of burnout. Some of it, not all the time, but maybe they are all the time, or maybe somebody who is, and that it's understandable. Like,
I was going to ask you on that. What's the difference? I mean, let's say I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
And literally, I'm just having a bad day, and I go home and I'm not motivated to get out and do whatever it is, whether it's training with the kids or whatever, just not up for it. The difference between burnout and just having a bad day. And sometimes it can be difficult to actually, you come out and go, I'm exhausted, I'm fed up with this whole thing. And really, you're just having a bad day. How do we know the difference between burnout and exactly that, just having one of those off days?
So an off day or a bad day could be the first stage of burnout, and it's how you respond to that. That's going to decide if it escalates into a more severe issue. And that's the same with these, some of the things I'm talking about there: loss of enjoyment, anxiousness, depression, anger. If we're feeling something that is a normal human response to a global pandemic or to business challenges that we're going through, it's a normal human response. But if we are telling ourselves, God, what the hell is wrong with me? I should have got this and this done. And, how we treat ourselves when we start to notice the first signs of burnout is the deciding factor on whether it's going to escalate. If we're going to punish ourselves and beat ourselves up and try and suppress it. And like, I love the way you talk about it, is it's just a bad day. Tomorrow's a new day. I'm going to be okay. This is, temporary. This is a normal human response. Or what's wrong with me? I coulda, shoulda, woulda. I need to, and I'm not going to go to bed tonight till I do it. And I need to, and we keep pushing through it. And we're not kind to ourselves around it. That's when it's going to be at risk of escalating. I suppose ourselves and each other. So if it's somebody else in our lives where we're like, you must, you should, you need to, and all of that, then it's going to be at risk of escalating into something that's harder to reel in or to manage.
Just a quick, again, I'm conscious of time, and it's this is a particularly interesting area of the conversation, but are there any techniques or tips to help manage maybe not just stressful situations, but burnout itself?
So do I have a slide on burnout? Burnout prevention. I suppose from a stress and burnout, I have the two kind of mixed in together. Sorry, it's freezing here now. 2 seconds. Yeah, so self-compassion would be the first part. And people sometimes think self-compassion is being self-indulgent or being irresponsible. You know, I hear people talking very hard on themselves, you know, but if I tell myself it's okay to have an off day, then I'll get nothing done. I'll be lazy tomorrow and I won't do it. So it's not about being irresponsible, you know, or lacking in remorse. It's also not being a victim. Self-compassion is being self-aware, like what I was talking about. It's acknowledging what you're going through. It's, you know, sometimes people think, you know, sure, we're going back to real life, we're going back to normal, what the hell is wrong with me? We've just come through a traumatic event, we're still going through it. And it's like, you know, if a car crash happened, you know, it might only hit you 3 months later because something reminds you of it. So it's about being aware and kind of tuning in and saying, well, you know, there is a reason that I'm feeling this, and being responsible, accepting your limitations, saying no. Small business owners aren't very good at saying no. You know, putting limits on our time, the amount of work that we're doing, and learning from our mistakes. When something goes wrong, it's about keeping that perspective. And knowing that it's temporary and that we will get through it. It's not being, you know, self-care is not being selfish. It's being kind to ourselves with a view to making our situation more temporary. So the 10 top tips for stress management during a pandemic or coming out of a pandemic are to acknowledge our feelings, watch our inner critic. Our inner critic motivates us and helps us to get things done, but it can also, when it goes too far, it can actually hold us back and paralyze us. Practice self-compassion. Anybody who knows me, who's heard me on calls before, self-compassion, you never hear me talk without mentioning self-compassion. I don't think everybody fully gets what I mean when I say that. So the line I like to use is talk to yourself like you would to a friend. If you're giving out to yourself, would you talk like that to a friend? Is a good rule of thumb to check how you're being with yourself. And so the usual basic things: eat green stuff, eat healthy, drink water, exercise, fresh air, connect with nature, and find meaning. You know, sometimes we forget, why are we doing it? What are we doing and why are we doing it? But if you do something for others, it's easier to find meaning in your day. Get sleep. If you're the type of person who just when you settle, just before you sleep, all your worries come into your mind and you're tossing and turning and you can't go to sleep, get up, get a little drink of water. Some people like to tap their worries into the phone. I know there's science about the light on the phone can overstimulate you and not be great for the brain, but whatever works for you, write them down, get them out, express whatever is going on, because sometimes we're nearly replaying a conversation. Oh, I should have said this, I should have said that. Right, first thing in the morning, I'm going to send an email, I'm going to clarify this, that, and the other. And we're thinking this at 4 a.m. And when we wake up at 9 a.m, we've either forgotten, not when we wake up, when we start work at 9, we've either forgotten that what we've decided to do, or we go, there's no way I'd do that. That was mad. What was I thinking at 4 a.m? But we try to nearly remember it at 4 a.m. when we can't sleep. It's like we have this great brain wave. We're going to send that email. We're going to make that call to clarify. And we're nearly trying to keep awake, trying to remember it unconsciously. So I recommend writing it down, get it out. This one is pick your battles. We have no idea what's going on with other people. If they're freaking out about a spreadsheet or an invoice, it might not be about the spreadsheet or the invoice. We don't know what's going on, especially nowadays. People are finding it tough just because they're well presented and they have all these social media posts and they look very successful. We just don't know what's going on. So pick your battles with your colleague, your friend, your family member, partner, children. Make allowances. These are not normal times and we are all human. Meditation and mindfulness, and connect with people and have real conversations. WhatsApp messages are great and emails are convenient, but have a call, even if it's online, which I know we're sick of the screen, or a real coffee now that we can do it. Go and have a cuppa with somebody and get connected. And one more thing I just want to say on that. I had an interview with John Cunningham back at the start of lockdown, and he said, ask for help. People, you know, and I know from everybody I've met in the chamber so far, are really helpful. We like to help. It ticks that box for doing something nice for somebody else. We like to help, but we find it hard to ask for help. Why should we reinvent the wheel? There's loads of resources and loads of people in our community and members of the chamber. So reach out and ask somebody, have they got some advice? People love to give help. We're not good at asking for it, but you'd be surprised how helpful people can be.
It's quite an extensive list there, Linda. And one of the things I'm not going to bite on is social media, because while we all use it, it is something we could go down, and we go down a rabbit hole with that particular conversation. So we'll ignore that. And you've probably answered a lot of what my follow-up questions were going to be about building mental resilience. So I'm going to just throw in a question, if I may, because as an employer with a small team, how can we engage with employees on this subject? Because I know one thing you said there was, you know, an employee might be struggling with a spreadsheet, which is a simple task normally, and they're losing or you might be, you know, I would say you, me, and it could be a telltale sign for something else. But as an employer, you don't want to intrude either. So how do we engage with employees on this subject, or what can we do?
I suggest listening. Just listen. So if somebody's freaking out about a spreadsheet, maybe it's not about the spreadsheet, but just listen. Because I think, again, especially small businesses, we're doers and we like to fix, we like to sort, we like to do. But sometimes if we step in and do it for somebody, we're kind of giving them an unconscious message that we don't believe they can do it. And if they're already doubting themselves and going through a wobble, us stepping in and fixing, sorting, doing for somebody else can be disempowering. So actually listening, a bit like, you know, I remember going to my dad with my maths homework, and he was an electrician. He wasn't brilliant at honours maths, but he was good at maths. And I'd go and I'd explain the problem to him, and he'd say, I'm not sure, say that again. What have you got to do? And by the third time I explained what I had to do, I had it figured out, do you know? And I suppose it's the same, you know, with us in the workplace. Sometimes we just like to tease it out. We just want somebody to listen with a supportive ear. And I suppose that connection has kind of got lost a little bit with the pandemic. We don't have as many kind of informal conversations. So if somebody's struggling, it doesn't mean we have to fix it. And actually they might feel a lot more empowered just by us listening and supporting and giving that message. You've got this. You mightn't feel like you've got it, but you're going to be okay. You'll figure it out.
I think you may have answered many of the questions I had, but I want to just come on to building mental resilience. And what exactly do you mean by that?
Building mental resilience. Yeah. And again, I know it's frustrating when we're looking for top tips, but it's a way of being rather than doing. Resilience is how we carry ourselves. I have a slide there on, it's not water off a duck's back. We might, you know, the way they say comparison is the enemy of joy. Social media, and again, we won't go down that rabbit hole, but it is lethal. You know, LinkedIn, you see these people, they look so successful, they're so confident doing their videos, yada, yada, yada. We're not comparing like for like. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. So somebody we might look up to as resilient is probably very kind to themselves. They probably have a wobble, you know, and use their supports and tell somebody when they're having a wobble, when they're feeling low. So resilience is not being robotic and, you know, never letting anything affect you. Resilience is, again, back to self-compassion. It's giving yourself permission to find things tough every now and again, being kind to yourself, trusting that it's temporary, that you will get through it, using your supports, asking for help. Successful entrepreneurs, anybody that you look up, everything they talk about is, you know, not trying to be everything for everyone. It's about setting limits, setting boundaries, knowing your limits, knowing, you know, having a realistic expectation of yourself. And for me, the resilience, you know, the people that you see that are resilient are the opposite of what we think it is in terms of a wall around them and stone solid. We're all human, even if we try to pretend we're not sometimes. So resilience is about acknowledging our humanity, acknowledging the enormity of what we're going through, and trusting that it's temporary and we will get through it.
And would I be right in just saying, I'll put it this way to you, as business owners, we do get ourselves into stressful situations. Forget business owners, as people, we find ourselves in stressful situations. They're not all bad, because you need a bit of stress to learn how to cope and to learn to get the tools of how to deal with things. Would that be fair?
100%. You can have good stress and it motivates us. It gets us up in the morning. Even, you know, being excited about something is a form of stress. You know, the bit of nerves I had before this morning is a form of stress. I'll be exhausted, even though I love this work and I'm passionate about it. I will, you know, I've you know, nothing booked in till after lunch because I'm minding myself around that. So you can have good stress. It's what gets us to meet deadlines, to achieve targets, to get things done. but that stress, if it's about the whip rather than the carrot, sometimes it can go too far. And I think with the pandemic, we've had, you know, too much stress put on us in a lot of cases. And again, it's about that balance. It's all about balance, isn't it? I feel like I'm repeating a lot of cliches, you know, moderation and all of that. But, you know, there is good stress. It has its purpose, but it's important to keep an eye on it, that it doesn't go too far in the kind of over to the other side of the scale. Yeah.
Linda, I think we could keep talking about this for the rest of the networking meeting. It's really that interesting. But before we close, is there anything you'd like to bring up or anything you'd like to mention in closing to sum up the conversation?
I feel like I'm repeating myself, but treat yourself like you would a friend. You know, if a friend came to you and said they were struggling, if they were feeling, you know, their resilience was failing, or, you know, they made a mistake in their business, or they're worried about their business or whatever, you would be supportive. I would like to think most people would, you know, be encouraging, they'd be reassuring, they'd be supportive, they'd be kind. But for some reason, when it comes to ourselves, we use words like failure. What are they going to think? They're going to think I'm this, I shouldn't have, I'm stupid, I made a mistake, I'm ridiculous, I'm not good enough, I'm not going to get there, blah, blah, blah. We have these inner thoughts that we don't share, that we don't even sometimes hear ourselves saying to ourselves. And, you know, that question, you know, what would you say to a friend, and to say that to yourself.
Thanks very much, Linda. Thanks I think we really enjoyed that, and well done. Congratulations on that presentation. It was excellent. We're going to remain on this topic for quite a few more minutes, because we're going to go to a breakout room, and Linda is going to give us the topic that we're going to discuss. So Linda, once more, back to you, and then we'll go to our breakout room.
Okay, so speaking of resilience and self-care, you're going to be doing networking, and you're going to be introducing yourselves and your business. But your discussion topic is, what worked well for you in the context of self-care over the last 2 years? What has helped you through in the context of self-care? So, you know, it's about, everybody does something different that's unique to them. What has helped you in your self-care over the last 2 years? But I will say, as I say in all my workshops, to mind yourself in this conversation. You might be in a group where you don't know anybody, and this is not a therapy group. It's, you know, it's about naming what you do well for self-care. If you're triggered by anything that I've said, send me an email and I'll help you get support if you need it. But mind your boundaries. Don't disclose anything you're going to regret. If it's something you've been through and you're okay with it, you know, share it away, because somebody might feel inspired by it. But just watch your boundaries. Sometimes we think in our head, oh, I'm going to say this, and, you know, by the time we've said it, we might regret it. So just mind yourselves, stay safe. Don't disclose anything that you might regret. If you feel triggered, if you're, you know, if anything I've said has hit a chord about yourself or somebody you care about, get in touch with me later on. But for now, say hello to each other in your breakouts and share one positive thing that you've done for your own self-care over the last 2 years.
Thanks, Linda. That's better. Now, I think we might be all back now. Any feedback from that? How did you find that particular breakout room with that question that Linda posed? Anybody want to say anything? I take that as a no.
I like the experience, and I like to see like all the entrepreneurs, because for me it's something very new. I'm feeling overwhelmed at the moment, and as I was sharing with the guys, I suffered burnout a few years ago, and I don't want to go to that road again. So then it was great to meet other people, to know how they cope with all the overwhelming, how they relax, and that was great.
Excellent. Carol, nice to meet you. We haven't met before, but maybe we might get an opportunity to give new business shout outs later on throughout the in the session. So thanks for that. Look, I think, again, my own view on it was a very interesting and important topic. So Linda, I'd like to say again, many thanks for coming along and giving up your time to have this discussion today. It's a topic that, in my view, it's worthy of further discussion. So The Chamber would be happy to facilitate a series of workshops on the topic if the demand is there. So if it's something that might be of interest to the group or to members, if you're not comfortable raising your hands to say, yes, we'd like to have these workshops, or if you are comfortable to raise your hands and we get a feel for who would like to attend these workshops, please do so now. Or you can either contact Paula or myself privately. We can gauge the support for a workshop and work with Linda and arrange this as well. So that's all I'm going to say on that. If there's no other, if there's nobody else has any comments. Okay. So we're going to move straight in now. Where are we? We're 10:40. Actually, we're bang on time, which is great. So we're going to have a second breakout room. We're going to try and mix it up here now. And the topic for this particular breakout room is going to be, what's your key business objective for 2022? And if there's any help you need from any member within the group, please don't be afraid to ask. So, God, we're nearly at the end of another meet, the second one of the year. It's before we know what the summer holidays will be coming along. I just want to go back to something you mentioned in our breakout room there. We were talking about in the very first breakout room about things that we did to keep us grounded and to help us through the pandemic. And I forgot to mention, actually, for me, one of them was this group here, because every now and again when we met up here, it gave a little bit of sanity and it gave a little bit of something different. And it was nice to meet up with business people and have a chat as well. So I think to Paul and the guys, I thought this initiative from the Chamber of the meeting, it was a fantastic way to help us through the pandemic as well from a business perspective. So well done, Paul. I didn't say I was going to say that, but it just came to my mind. Now we're going to move over to Paula, who's going to take us through some new business shout outs and also announce the spot prize winner.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to start off by doing recognizing the other, I suppose, foot soldiers in the MBON, and Lorna is on the call here today, and Lorna represents the local enterprise office in Meath, and Lorna's colleague Quiva is often on our calls as well, but she just couldn't make it this morning's. So I suppose, like any of these things, the MBON doesn't come around on its own, nor do any of our businesses, and we're delighted to have the collaboration with the local enterprise office for MBON, and then our sponsors, of course, who feature with us year on year. So, and Ray, who's another business owner, chamber member, and who chairs these meetings fantastically. Anyway, look, I've got three things to talk about today. So first of all, at this point in the meeting, we generally mention a couple of new businesses and businesses who have joined the network, be that the Chamber Network or the MBON network, and they're actually on the call. So you may have had them in your meeting rooms today. The first one I mentioned is Damn Good Digital. So Lorcan is with us today, and Lorcan provides a full service digital agency based in Trim. And you know, I suppose the whole thing around this is that Lorcan's interested in building long-term relationships around design, digital marketing, app design, website, etc. And we will work with Lorcan on one of our MBONs to sort of bring his knowledge and advice and tips around how you can make the most of your, be it your SEO, your website design, etc. In the future MBONs. The second, so you're welcome, Lorcan. The second person we have on the call today who recently joined the network is Corla Consulting. So this is Barry Hare. So Barry's just after popping into my breakout room, so he may have been in yours earlier. And Corla Consulting is based in Ashbourne. And in our breakout room there, Barry was describing what they do. So, and what I took from that was really he works with the business to relieve some of the pressure, be it around profitability, cash flow planning, for how to grow in the future, etc. And I know that Barry is keen to work with SMEs and startups. And if you'd like to connect with either Lorcan or Barry or any of the guys on today's call, you can use that new feature, the Chamber Connect feature on our website, or drop us an email afterwards. After these calls, the people who registered will share the information with one another as to who was on the call, and a contact email as well. The third business that joined our network since January is Jigsaw. And Jigsaw, I thought Alison had registered to come on the call today, but I'm not actually sure. I haven't seen her there, but she may be on the second screen. And Jigsaw is a business management service specialising in lean, people development, digitisation and green sustainability. And Jigsaw would work a lot and collaborate a lot with the local enterprise office, and we would have featured them on previous MBONs. In terms of news, we have good news, and I know we have Lauren Elite on the call, and this is around Marsh Mackey. So Marsh Mackey Recruitment have been shortlisted with the National Employment Recruitment Federation for the best small recruitment agency. So I think we give a combined round of applause here to Marsh Mackey, and Lauren is on the call this morning. Lauren, if you'd like to come off mute for a second, tell us just a quick update on when is the gala night?
Yeah, thanks so much, Paula. Yeah, look, it's a national award, and to be nominated, first of all, it's a massive achievement, but to be shortlisted, it's an even bigger achievement for us. We're a team of 4 here, so it has its challenges, but it has its rewards. So we will be attending the Shelburne Hotel next Friday night for the awards, and fingers crossed we will come away with an award. But look, to be there after the 2 years that we've had is good enough. The awards were meant to take place in December, but due to the rise in numbers again, it was pushed out. So we will thoroughly enjoy next Friday night.
Thank you, and well done. I know it's not your first time up there. I'm delighted to hear that it's a physical event again, and that we're moving back into that space, and just wish you the best of luck. And just to tell the rest of the network, if you've got good news, if you've been nominated for an award, or if there's something exciting happening in terms of development in your business, to let us know, because we do have a good news feature as part of our monthly MBON. Now, just Lauren is on the call. I mentioned her earlier, and Lauren is going to pop in here with an update on the local enterprise offices Enterprise Week, which is taking place in March. So, Lauren, you come off mute?
Thank you, Paula. Yes. Hi, everyone. We have Enterprise Week is coming up on the 7th to the 11th of March. The entire week is going to be packed with activities. They're free of charge for the most part, and there's a whole lineup of spotlight activities, which are the national activities arranged by the Central Committee for the Leos nationwide. These are all available to view now. The brochure can be viewed, and you can book your slot at any of those on localenterprise.ie/week. And then the local ones are on our website. We are working on a local brochure. The local brochure is ready to be published on our website, but unfortunately our web master is out on leave unexpectedly at the minute. So hope to have that up early next week. The courses are up there anyway in the online booking section of the Meadleo website. If you go to localenterprise.ie/Mead for the local ones and /week for the national ones. We'll have lots of PR during the next 2 weeks, both nationally and locally. And myself and Sarah Mallon from Loud Leo will be doing an interview on LMFM over the week before and the week of Enterprise Week. And we'll also have some spot prizes and some promotions on social media. So keep an eye out on Twitter and Facebook, and follow us on Twitter and Facebook rather, and you'll hear all about the events that are coming up. There's a really good spread of events from lean to lean for micro. I know Paula mentioned Alison there, Alison from Jigsaw. She'll be doing an event, a national event on lean, and there'll be workshops on digital, so start your own business. Is there bad interference there, Paula?
No, I don't hear it.
Oh, sorry, it might just be on my end. I'm getting feedback. Yeah, so really there is something for everyone in National Enterprise Week. So have a look at the lineup, book yourself onto the events that you're interested in nice and early, because spaces are limited on some of them, and it would be a shame to miss them because they're free and available, and it should be a really good week. So 7th to the 11th of March, keep your diary a bit free for that one, because there's loads of stuff and won't be able to decide what to do.
Thanks, Lorna. Thank you.
Thanks,
and with Enterprise Week in mind, and the fact that we have the double bank holiday around St. Patrick's Day, etc., we've decided to move the March MBON back slightly. So we're going to run it on Friday the 11th of March as part of Enterprise Week, and we're going to look at financial supports and funding for small business owners and microfinance, etc. So it's a really good one to pop in for there if you're looking for money or to expand. I'm sure, look, we are all looking for money somewhere. So come in on that, and we'll circulate the booking link after this call. Now, I just wanted to mention the Chamber in conjunction with Solus and the ETBs and there's a load of agencies supporting us to run a showcase of jobs and apprenticeships and skills opportunities in County Meath, and it's happening on Tuesday the 29th of March, and you may have got the details from that already, but I'll pop it in the email again. So this is just to support, the objective of the expo is to connect employers with candidates, students, parents, national agencies, etc. It's in the Knightsbrook, and it runs from 9 until 5, and there's exhibition space there for anybody, any business who'd like to promote themselves, or maybe they have an opportunity, a job or an apprenticeship or a skilled opportunity. It's a really good day for networking as well. So if whether you're exhibiting or attending, you can book your place on Eventbrite for that, and we will officially launch that event on the 1st of March, Tuesday, the 1st of March in the Knightsbrook. So we'll keep you tuned in with any of the PR, etc. for that. Now, the spot price, which is always probably the reason why, I hope not, but possibly the reason why you stayed on to the very end of this call. So this spot prize was sponsored today from Karen and Kieran McBride from the Parcel Concierge, who couldn't join us this morning, but we're delighted to offer this prize. And Stephen's going to share a picture of it there, I hope. The hamper is called Because You're Special, and it sort of has all the essentials, be it oils and candles and handmade soap company and chocolate, of course, and I think that might be, I don't know if it's non-alcoholic, but it looks like wine. So, but look, I mean, the whole thing here is that the hamper is, when Linda mentioned so often about self-care and self-awareness, this is a treat for you. And I popped all the names into the random name picker, and Tricia came out. So Tricia, are you on the call still? And if you are, congratulations and well done on that. So
thank you very much.
Be delivered to you, and enjoy it. Nothing left for me to do now except thank everybody. Thank you all for taking the time out to come. Thank you, Ray, for for chairing today's meeting. Thank you very much, Linda, for your time and your advice and tips. Lorna and Leo for the collaboration. MG Audio for helping us with the IT today, and our sponsors, Pinergy and PTSB. And we'll see you on the 11th.
Thank you very much, Paula.
Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paula. Thanks, all.
Bye-bye.
And have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you.